this video, we're going to talk about a recent new rumor for Black Ops 6 Zombies. Now, if you've been keeping up to date with Black Ops 6 Zombies, you'll know that there's been quite a few leaks over the last week, such as the classic mode, which was discovered through strings of code left in the Black Ops 6 beta on Steam that was publicly visible on Steam's depot, and an unfinished HUD editor discovered in the Black Ops 6 beta. But in this video specifically, we're discussing a new rumor of a potential feature or mode coming to Black Ops 6 Zombies known as hardcore quests. Now, it goes without saying, but when discussing any leak or rumor, until it's officially confirmed by Activision or Treyarch, take this rumor with a huge grain of salt. But just like the classic mode leak, there is literally only the words hardcore quest to go off here. And whilst the classic mode leak came from leaked strings as part of Steam, this more recent leak we're discussing comes from one sole source, being a pretty reputable COD leaker in the community known as HeyImAlaix. For a majority of what he shares on his Twitter page, he is mostly pretty accurate, but you have to always take these things with a pinch of salt, as this could be leftover code from a game like Black Ops 4 that had multiple difficulties, including hardcore. This could be content that's actually cut from Black Ops 6 or any other multitude of other factors. So I'm going into this thinking that it's not actually going to be in the game, and I'll dive into my reasons for that a little later in the video. But regardless, it's extremely interesting to talk about and gauge the feedback from you, the community, to see if this is something that you would actually want to see in the game if it's real. Diving into it with HeyImAlaix, his tweet simply states that he has something cool for zombies players, where something could be coming called hardcore_quest. Now, on paper, hardcore quest sounds like what it sounds like: hardcore versions of the main Easter egg quests in Black Ops 6 Zombies. And this wouldn't be the first time that we have seen hardcore versions of Easter eggs in Call of Duty Zombies, because Sledgehammer Games experimented this very idea with their first World War II Zombies map, The Final Right, where that map offered two versions of the main Easter egg quest, one that was a casual Easter egg quest and one that was a hardcore Easter egg quest. Casual version of the Easter egg was actually very similar to what the guided mode in Black Ops 6 Zombies sounds like, where each step of the Easter egg was sort of described to you in the top left, and there were map prompts and highlighted items telling you to go here to interact with this item. Wrapped up with a boss fight and ending cutscene like you'd expect for a normal Easter egg, but the hardcore version added a few extra steps at certain points of that casual Easter egg that were not guided, that added a lot more difficulty and progression with the wonder weapons in the game, before culminating with the same boss fight that you had in the casual with the same ending cutscene. You were also given a slightly different in-game ending afterwards and given all 6 perks. Overall, I think the community really enjoyed the fact that there was 2 versions of a main Easter egg quest, but Sledgehammer Games never continued it in any of the DLC maps. Now, the interpretation from this tweet is that Treyarch could be introducing the exact same thing with hardcore quests, where there would be 2 versions of each main Easter egg quest, but I just don't think that's the case whatsoever. Now, let's look at why Sledgehammer Games probably didn't continue it. And I think it's down to 2 reasons. The first is that the number of players that completed it were probably a very small amount. I'd imagine creating 2 versions of an Easter egg is a lot of work, and because of that, as well as the low player numbers, it just didn't make sense for them to spend all that extra time doing it for every DLC map. The second factor was that whilst the community loved the idea of a casual and hardcore Easter egg, they did not like that the casual Easter egg was so handheld with a feature called the Notebook, which literally told you exactly what to do and also highlighted where to go. This feature was completely removed in the DLC maps, but if you remove that feature, then technically the Easter egg is no longer guided. Now, the hardcore Easter egg in the launch map wasn't guided, so if every DLC map is now no longer guided, does that make them hardcore Easter eggs? Most people would say no, but in that case, what would be a hardcore version of an already unguided Easter egg? Combining all of those factors, I think it's just too confusing for them to have a hardcore version of each Easter egg throughout, as cool as it sounds. And when it comes to Treyarch and Black Ops 6 Zombies, I think it's the exact same scenario. Although this time they have made it abundantly clear that the Easter egg quests in this game are split into 2 modes: standard mode and directed mode. Directed mode has been described as that casual difficulty where you are given guidance throughout the entire Easter egg quest. Standard mode is your unguided version, which, comparing to World War II's casual and hardcore Easter eggs, basically lines up to be the exact same thing. Treyarch have also been super vocal in making it abundantly clear that standard and directed are the only 2 versions. Even at COD Next, during the COD pod, when asked about there being multiple difficulty options like Black Ops 4, Kevin simply said no, there is only standard and directed mode. So if you add a hardcore version of each Easter egg as well, that is just too confusing. There's just too many versions. It's just too complicated. They want to streamline it. They don't want to overcomplicate it. And in my opinion, this rumor, this leak of Hardcore Quest is literally what Treyarch are defining the standard unguided version of the main Easter egg quests as. By the community's definition of what a hardcore Easter egg is looking at World War II, this of course doesn't have the same meaning. But technically, the hardcore version of an Easter egg in Black Ops 6 Zombies is an unguided version, which is what the standard mode is. Which is why it is incredibly important to take everything you see with a big grain of salt. Because like I said, beyond the words hardcore quest, there is no extra context given to what this could be, what this could mean, so we genuinely don't know if it is actually part of Black Ops 6 or if it's some leftover code from a previous game. But let's talk about what it could actually be if it is true, because to me, I just don't think Treyarch would create a hardcore version of the main Easter egg quest if they already have a standard version and then a directed version. And I've said many times, but the standard version technically is a hardcore version. It's an Easter egg quest that isn't guided or told to you. And outside of that, I don't know what other elements could make this separate from the normal Easter egg quest to give it that hardcore quest name. If the classic mode leaks are true, then these could potentially work hand in hand with each other, where you have a classic mode that technically would make zombies a lot harder, and then you throw in the main Easter egg on top. Does that then class it as a hardcore quest? I don't know. But hardcore quest could actually be more tied into the idea of a super Easter egg that would be available once every zombies map has released for Black Ops 6, because over the years Treyarch has dabbled with the super Easter egg idea, but we've not seen them really go for it like we saw Infinite Warfare zombies do with the director's cut mode. I can even recall in the last year or two on Twitter where people have asked about Kevin Drew's ideas of super Easter egg and a director's cut, and he really appreciates everything Infinity Ward did with director's cut as being the gold standard of super Easter eggs, and would love to one day match or even surpass it. Treyarch has had the longest development time ever with zombies this time around, so I'd like to think that with all the feedback that's been given over the years, the discussion of super Easter egg, that Treyarch could be kicking up something really great here. So just a reminder of what director's cut is. It is a feature that was given if you completed all 5 Easter eggs, and from each map you were given a key, and if you had all 5 and inserted it into an area in the Pack-a-Punch machine, it would unlock this director's cut mode, which would spawn you in with all perks immediately, 25,000 points, and every weapon out of the box would be Pack-a-Punched. You also had to complete every map's Easter egg with director's cut enabled to get access to the true final boss battle, which was Mephistopheles, to this day still the hardest boss fight in all of zombies. So in comparison, Treyarch has given us the RK5 as a starting pistol in Black Ops 3, along with the ability to get Pack-a-Punched wonder weapons and the katana on Revelations later into the Easter egg. Black Ops 4 Zombies was planned to have a super Easter egg with secret rooms, but that was cut. And Cold War, we got a year 2 update for a super Easter egg, which allowed you to spawn in with a purple rarity loadout weapon on spawn, which was just below legendary, which in fairness is a really good reward to have. I think a lot of us just want something really cool this time around, something very unexpected. There's a lot of discussions back in the day about the balance of zombies when you had something like director's cut, having 25,000 points, all of the perks, etc. But you definitely earned it from going through such a difficult set of Easter egg quests, so I think it was worth it and balanced. But I'd love to know in the comments what you think a great super Easter egg reward could be, and if you think this could be tied to what they mean by hardcore quests. As if the super Easter egg followed a similar pattern to IW, where you had to replay the map with the director's cut enabled, and you got a slightly different version of the map in terms of the story and parts towards a super Easter egg finale, then a hardcore quest would then technically make sense because it would be ever so slightly different. But until we get concrete confirmation from Treyarch and Activision that a hardcore quests does exist in the game, we can only speculate and just class this as a discussional piece rather than confirming it as something actually in the game. Because again, just like classic mode, that is a leak that went incredibly viral and is still spoken about to this day, and I'm sure Treyarch have heard the feedback about it by now, but that could have also just been leftover code from Black Ops 4, as there was a difficulty setting called classic, just like there was also a difficulty mode called hardcore. But regardless, this was a really fun conversation conversation to have. And of course, the idea of a hardcore version of the Easter eggs is something that I love the idea of. But this discussion was just more being completely realistic from a developer point of view, and also trying to not confuse people when there technically already is 2 difficulty versions of the Easter eggs in this game. But like I said, let me know your thoughts on this down below in the comments. Do you believe it's true? Do you believe it's happening? And if it is, what do you think hardcore quest actually means? Put all of your feedback in the comments, because I'm sure someone at Treyarch is going to be watching this video and taking some notes about what you guys are saying, because even if it isn't real and it isn't a thing in Black Ops 6, it's still really good feedback for what Treyarch could potentially add to the game in the future. If you want to watch a video going over a drastically improved beloved feature returning in Black Ops 6 this year, then click this video appearing on your screen right now.